Welcome to another scenario video. I hope these have been helpful just to draw out more of the context behind a lot of the commands in the RTFM. There's a lot that goes into enumerating users, groups, credential manipulation, running executables with certain credentials, jumping to the domain controller. We're going to continue growing in this scenario and the Chicago domain. One of our main tasks in this scenario video is going to be to fortify our access in the domain. If this was a real red team assessment and we wanted to make sure some type of defensive team couldn't kick us out, we would likely go get additional workstation callbacks that again are calling out to the internet that we're able to grab and receive. So let's just say Phyllis's workstation gets detected, defenders come in, they pull it off the network, they format the box. That's not our only access into the environment. Ideally, we want to have two, maybe three different workstation callbacks. In an ideal world, you want all of those machines calling out to different internet redirectors. That way, if one gets blocked, they'll have the other access that you can go to. Our job is to make the defenders really have to work, really have to try to get us out. So let's go ahead and see if we can get a workstation callback. So if I do my who am I right here, you'll see that I'm running as NT Authority System. We covered this in our Mimikatz video, but this is not very helpful to migrate to a target remote machine. System is a really high privilege on our current machine, but is useless over the network. I can show you all. Let me do a dir. We'll do chai ws 04 $. Access is denied. Exactly. We need to find a user credential that works against the machine we're targeting. So I remember a group called Workstation Admins that was really popular in this Chicago domain. I saw a few users in that group. So we have Brian, Eric, Phyllis. All three of these users have access to workstations, which is great. We just need to pick one of them. There's really no huge preference here. Maybe you want to find one that's been logging in recently, so you best kind of blend into that traffic. However, I'm just going to pick Brian Sanchez here. This is going to be who we're going to use to spawn a credential and jump to that workstation. So I'm going to start a little playbook over here on the side. We're going to start to collect his hash, his username. We're going to start modifying some commands so that we can go ahead and jump on that target workstation. So we have our user here. One of the other things we need is a workstation to jump to. So I'm going to do a DS query, and then I'm going to do a really quick shorthand. This is just going to dump all the computer names that exist in Chicago. I have a huge list of machines here, a lot of different options I can jump to. You can see the file server here. This was the file server we were enumerating in that last scenario video. So I can kind of pick whichever machine I want to go at here. I'm going to try chai ws32. Just to prove system does not have access. Yep, access is denied again, but the machine is up. It's listening for events, right? If I go spawn a token as our workstation admin, we'll be good to go. So let's go ahead. Let's add this computer to our playbook, and we'll make sure to target this one with our technique. So let me paste that in here. So we've got our user that we want to spawn the token. We've got the machine we want to target. Now we need to use Mimikatz to actually create a process as Brian Sanchez, and then we can inject into that process and hopefully pivot over to that target machine. Let's find our Mimikatz command over here. I had it highlighted already. Back to our playbook. And then we do need to fill this out. Oh, and one other thing I forgot. We need to DC sync Brian Sanchez's password hash. So let me grab that. Got our DC sync. We got our pass the hash. We're looking really good here. We do have Mimikatz on this DC as mimi.exe. I already uploaded it in the Mimikatz section. And then we just need to continue filling out this DC sync command. So let's do our exit at the end. We want Brian Sanchez's credentials. So let me put that here. Domain needs to be the fully qualified. So we'll do chicago.cyberinc.local. Looking over our command, everything looks mostly good. Let's go ahead and fire it off. Perfect. We have all the password hashes associated with Brian Sanchez. This is the main one we really want here, so I'm going to copy that to our notepad. Again, I hope you see me filling out my playbook here to get these commands perfect before I actually launch them in the terminal. You're definitely going to make far less mistakes if you do that. So we have his hash. We can go ahead and plug it in right here. Our run file, you've seen me type this a bunch already, system32, upnpcont.exe, let's do that. Domain, we can just do Chicago, it doesn't have to be fully qualified. And then of course, Brian's name right here. Change our target executable. And we're gonna call Mimikatz, we're gonna do a pass the hash attack. We're passing in Brian's account, right? The domain is going to be Chicago, and then the NTLM hash right here. And we're going to run upmpcont.exe, and then at the end, we're going to run our exit. So let me copy this. We'll paste it in right here. It looks like it worked. This is the process we actually want to inject Sliver into. So we're going to run exit. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this process because I know I'm gonna need it in a minute. Now I need to run my migrate command. I can do a help migrate if I need some of the syntax for that. So it looks like I just need to do migrate tech p for PID right here. We're gonna paste in our, oh, I lost my process. Let me scroll up, we'll grab it. Oh, nice, it's right here. Nice and easy. Love when that happens. Paste it in. It's gonna go ahead and migrate into that PID. It should pop back and say new Sliver session. Go check it out. So let's hope that works. Successfully migrated to 1472, new session. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So let's go ahead, select that. We'll do sessions, tac I, paste it in here. Then do a PS, just make sure we're working. Looks great. Now we can do an LS and see if our token actually works. So let's do an LS. We got to do our backslash canceling, not a problem there. WS32, $, perfect. Worked successfully. We now have a valid token, valid credentials against this target workstation. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to upload a new Sliver implant. We're actually going to use an HTTP implant this time, so we can use that original FastElm executable. We don't have to do the reverse callback because workstations are supposed to contact the internet. So we should be good, we should blend in. Let's go ahead and get that implant uploaded. Now I believe I put it on my desktop. Let me find, yeah, FastElm right here. Let's come back here. We'll do an upload. First, let's find a place to put it. If you've seen some of my videos, you know we need to blend this into the target file system. Let me do my double backslashes here. That way, if a defender stumbles across the binary, it'll kind of blend in and they won't think anything's up. So we'll do system32. And then I'm gonna pick a new executable this time. I don't wanna do whoops like I did last time. That way, you know, if they find one file name, they can't find us everywhere in the whole environment. HTUEDLL, one of my favorites. So we're gonna do an upload. Let's do /home rogue operator desktop fastelm.exe. Hopefully that is where it's at. We're going to specify our target upload. We're going to call it htui.exe. All uploaded. I'm going to do my ls again to make sure it got uploaded successfully. Golden, looks great. So now that we have our payload on the host, we need to go ahead and execute it with a remote execution method. I've showed you service manipulation, scatasks, MMC, remember it doesn't work against workstations. This time around, I'm gonna go ahead and use a scatask. So let me go over to the RTFM and grab that. Remote scatasks execution. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this to my playbook so I can make sure it works correctly. So let's grab that. And then I believe, yep, there's a run and then we can delete it. So let me get that going. IP address can just be our host name. So we're doing chai WS32. File path is gonna be C, Windows, System32, htui.exe. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the TN Office Updater. We should be good there. We just need to get some of this copied over in our actual run command as well. So let's drop down into a shell. We'll paste it in here. Created the task on the target. Let's go ahead and run it. Attempted to run, should be good. So within a couple minutes, we should see a new Sliver callback come in. And at that point, we will have 2 workstation callbacks coming out of the Chicago domain. So if defenders get us on Phyllis Snyder, at least we have this other machine calling us back as well. So now we get to wait. Usually takes a couple minutes to come in. And right there, we just got our new Sliver callback. Worked great. I didn't delete my scatasks. I probably need to do that. So let's jump back down into a shell. We don't want to leave much for the defenders to find, right? Grab that from our RTFM, put it in our playbook here. We'll update our host name right here. And fire, deleted successfully. Now I can back out to the Sliver menu and I can interact with that new callback. So I see it came in, this is the ID. Let's do a background, sessions, tac I for interact. Paste that in, do a PS, works great. we have another session on a new workstation. That concludes this video. However, we are now going to jump into system persistence. If you recall, in our last persistence video, we did user persistence. So if the user logged in, it would go ahead and execute and call us back as that user. With system persistence, typically it kicks off the minute the machine starts up. So a user doesn't even have to log in. And then once the machine starts up, it'll kick off and call us back with really high privileges, typically system. So we should be good to go. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.